Today we are talking about the post I shared earlier this morning on 5 ways that you could be cutting corners in your business. 5 ways that you could be cutting corners in your business and how we want to recognize that. You know, the thing about what I do for creating content, just real quick, is I come up with it, right? And then I put it onto my Instagram, and then I send out a newsletter around the content, and then I go live on it. So that's what we're doing right now. We're going to go live, and we are live. Where did my Facebook go? There it is. Okay. So good morning and welcome. We're talking about how you could be cutting corners in your business and you don't know it. You may not really know that you are. So we're going to dive into what those 5 things are. And I came up with the 5 because those are the most common ones that I see a lot of people do who are my clients, or also the people that are the prospects to my business, people who I talk to and people who I get to connect with, and I see that they do these things, and we're going to talk about that. So 5 ways you could be cutting corners that you don't necessarily know that you're doing. Okay, guys? And if you don't know me yet, my name is Maria Henderson. I am a spiritual business coach, and I help spiritual entrepreneurs create a successful coaching business online through social media. And whoever's throwing up these hearts, thank you so much. Okay, so let's dive into 5 ways you could be cutting corners in your business. All right, so the first one is probably one of the biggest ones that I've seen people do, and it is avoiding sales altogether. Avoiding sales altogether. And one of the funny things is that I'm noticing a lot of these, business coaches, they will do this thing where they'll promote their program and they'll say that you don't need to do strategy calls and you can sell your coaching services without any strategy calls. And one of the detrimental things about that is that you are not making contact with your prospect and you're not really understanding what the problem is. And when you go about running a business this way, it becomes kind of like a house of cards. Like you're just creating a service that you think that people need, but you are not speaking to someone specific to really understand the problem so that you can refine your program and your coaching services, because that's really what it takes to have longevity in this type of field. You have to put out a product and refine as you go. If you're not talking to your prospects, you're not going to have that kind of refinement, right? You're just kind of like throwing spaghetti to the wall, as we like to say it. And a lot of people will avoid sales entirely and try to just sell a course through a website or send a link out without really talking to people. And that becomes a detriment to your ability to even become a strong business owner and to have a understanding of sales, the sales process, and be building resilience around rejection. I think that's the biggest thing, is when you build resilience around rejection, you really become a very powerful salesperson, a powerful business person when you develop grit around rejection. So number 1, the biggest one that I've seen is avoiding sales. And maybe even like another way that people will avoid sales is when they don't make the offer. They'll go on a strategy call with somebody and they don't even make the offer, and because they were terrified of making the offer, or they come up with an excuse to not make the offer, like, well, they didn't need it. And at some level, if people are on the phone with you, at some level they needed some sort of connection with you to understand whatever it is that you do, and then at some level probably needed your help. Okay, always know that people who jump on the phone with you, they at some level need your help. Let that sink in. So don't ever let a prospect go who you think is a great fit and you don't make an offer. Don't do that. Now, if you don't make an offer because it's not a good fit, then that makes sense. But for this specific instance, you have a great prospect on the phone. However, you didn't make the offer because you were afraid of looking like a salesperson or being pushy or inconveniencing them or making them feel uncomfortable. Now that, guys, is an example of avoiding sales. Okay, number 2 is a disorganized business. So, a lot of the times we can kind of get really busy in our business and things can kind of fall to the wayside, meaning contracts are not properly sent out to get signed. You might be working with clients right now that you haven't even gotten the contract signed yet and you're already rendering business. That is a very disorganized business because let's say time passes and you've rendered the business and then they want a refund and you didn't get the contract signed because you just let it happen. You just let it kind of be like, whatever, it's cool, we're working anyway. That is a disorganized business. Another form of disorganized business is not doing your taxes. That is a really terrible way to start your business if you're new. You have to know what your taxes look like. You need to know what you're paying. You need to know how much you are putting aside for your taxes. And you need to go in knowing what your numbers are for the year. And that goes into the next part of having a disorganized business is people that don't know their numbers. If they don't know their numbers, if you don't know your numbers, you guys, you don't know the success of your business. You don't know whether you are successful or not. If you don't know your overhead, the systems that you pay for, what it costs to run and operate your business, that means at some level you are also disorganized in your business, you guys. So this is just common examples of what I've seen people do in their business who are not fully aware of the back end business processes and really don't implement things like knowing your numbers, reporting for client progress, offboarding and onboarding clients, contracts, making sure that you have the executed contract and sending that out to each client, ensuring that they receive it, even if it's via email and they didn't confirm. The fact that you sent it via email is proof that you have closed that transaction and there's a transaction taking place. There's a lot of things here that you cannot miss and has to be a part of your business process. Okay, that's number 2. I'm trying to go through this because I have 14 minutes until my coaching call. So number 3, you guys, is blaming others for your failures. So this one I always talk about only because it's a really big deal when you lack accountability for your results. I have a family member who's kind of going through learning, who he is and what he's going through as a part of growing into being an adult, right? And one of the things that I think that I see a lot of myself in him is how we blame our family for our failures or shortcomings or, whatever it is that's holding us back from really going out and executing life. And I see him do that, and I also see him do the woe is me energy. Now, one of the things about that is that we can kind of get lost in the sauce, meaning we will get lost in blaming other people. And we lose our power in terms of changing the course of our life and making decisions. And it's a great reminder to know that in life we must fully know that we are completely accountable for every single moment that happens. Every single moment, even from a car crash that you got rear-ended. How were you accountable for that? How could you have left early or have, stopped at a right time so that that person behind you doesn't stop at the time that person did, and then next thing you know, you get dinged? How are you more accountable than ever? And when you do take that kind of perception about life and the results you have, you can really just look at the results from the standpoint of what can I do from here on out to change the results? What can I do from here on out to create a different reality, right? So this is, I think, one of the best things you can take on at any part of your life, whether you are towards the end of your life, where I'm talking morbid here, but what I mean is even if you're on the older side, like 60, 50, 60, 70, whatever age, what can you do to take accountability? Even on the younger side, if you are just brand new into being an adult, 18, 19, 20, how can you start taking accountability for each action you decide to partake in? And how can you really step into your own power? And how can you plan out your life so that things align the way you want it to? And we have more power than we realize. I'm learning that now as a 36-year-old mom of two and business owner and partner to my hubby, So a lot of that takes awareness and understanding that we can really make the difference in our lives by the decisions we make. So that is I believe that's number 4. Last one, you guys, is working with unaligned clients. When you work with unaligned clients, and you constantly work with unaligned clients, that is cutting corners, and you're kind of taking the easy route. You're just kind of like taking people as they go, right? Whoever comes in, you just allow them in because you want to close the sale. But the problem with that is if you continuously sign on clients who are not aligned with you and who are not aligned with your services, you will breed a client who may not get results. You might also bring on more stress to your business because now you have taken on a client that is probably just kind of not a good fit for you and the program. You see how you're taking on more problems than it is worth the money. So if you continuously work with unaligned clients, you guys needs to you need to really take a look at why you're doing this and to stop it and to course correct how you onboard clients, who your aligned clients are, and start energetically attracting those through your marketing. And one of the things for me, if I see an unaligned client come my way, I will serve them. However, I will not make the offer to them, And for you guys who are business owners, you can still serve people who are not aligned, meaning if you do strategy calls, you can still follow through with the strategy call, even offer up some free coaching, knowing that you're not going to make an offer to them in the end anyway. And if they do want to have like some support, you can reference a coach that might be a better fit. Okay. Now, some of things about unaligned clients, I posted on about this a few weeks ago, which is what to look for when you work with unaligned clients. And it's those who say they can't afford it and they're terribly at a bad place financially. When they say those things, that's probably an unaligned client, because that means they're in survival mode. And that means any kind of coaching you render to them, they will kind of like, if it's uncomfortable, they won't take it because they're already in survival mode. They kind of want quick results. You see how that's not really an aligned client? Another red flag would be someone who lies, and you can kind of see that they are a liar. And I bring this up because you get to really have an antenna for that kind of characteristic and behavior. Because if you don't, then you're going into being a coach. And, the thing about people is that people will lie and see what they can get away with you. So being able to call that out right away is an amazing tactic for a strong client and coachee relationship, giving you guys better results with the client. Okay, guys, so those are just a few red flags to look for with unaligned clients. Now, what you want to do from here on is I didn't even add in the last one, which is letting challenges slow you down. So this one is a big one for me because as I let my challenges come, I have learned to allow it to be fuel into my business. Now, if I don't, there was a time where I would let challenges slow me down, like sales. When I was terrified of sales, I let it stop me from actually becoming profitable. And that is when I kind of like made a decision over and over again, like after over and over again of failures, because I let that fear of sales stop me, which is essentially the challenge. I committed to myself that I would learn every single aspect of sales and how to become an effective salesperson in my business. And what that did is it kind of fueled me, because what fueled me really was seeing other people do it and thinking I can do it too. If they can do it, I can do it. And just having that belief and fueling myself, knowing that other people who seem like regular Joe Schmoes can do it, that fueled me in my business. So letting challenges slow you down is kind of a cop-out, because essentially, again, you're blaming the challenge as to why you couldn't overcome it, right? And the problem with that is, again, the lack of accountability and understanding that you have the power to change your business by ensuring that the activities you participate in are profitable, and is strengthening your ability to either sell or to articulate your message well or communicate well, whatever it looks like. So letting your challenges slow you down is a huge cutting corners, because it's easier to actually allow it to slow you down versus fight through the actual fear around the challenge. And as you work through it and break through it, you become a stronger leader in your community. You see how it's a ripple effect, it's a domino effect of just more abundance, more power, more self-confidence as you break through whatever it is that's in the way of your goal. Now, the last thing here is what to do. So what to do is take the road less traveled. There's actually a book on this. It's called Take the Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. And one of the books that I've had for so long, and it's just an example of as we go about living the life we live, leading the business that we lead, the families and the households we run, where in your life are you taking the more easy route, right? And where in your life are you taking the more less traveled route? And the easy route usually is kind of coasting by, working the 9 to 5, doing the things that is required of you, but not that is enough and that is all you get. And then at the end of your life, you look up and you're like, well, this is the end of my life, right? That is kind of like the road more traveled. So what I'm talking about here is really taking on your life with the road less traveled, going into your life and business from the standpoint of really tackling every single thing that comes in the way. And really like seeing it from the standpoint of how can I be different here, and how can I ensure that I operate from a place of power and confidence. And from there, I think things become easier because you are not allowing the defeat to kind of get to you, you see? So I always say, face the fear, right? Face the fear, face the rejection, make your offer, strengthen your grit by doing the thing that is hard, by doing the thing that you resist. And if you resist that thing, that is a sign for you to face that thing even more. Okay, so I'm leaving my live with that. Guys, those are the 5 ways that you could be cutting corners. I'm just going to wrap that up one more time. Number 1, you're avoiding sales. Number 2, you are disorganized in your business. Number 3, you are blaming others for your failures. Number 4, you're working with unaligned clients. And the last one is letting challenges slow you down. All right, guys, if this resonated with you, please click the link below. I'd love to chat with you guys this week to grow your spiritual business, or if you just have an online business and want to know a roadmap to create profits and sign on clients, my link is over here. It's going to be at the bottom, and on Facebook at the top. Okay. And that is it for me. Have an amazing week ahead, and thank you so much, everyone who joined. Facebook, always the last one. Have a great day, guys.